At 32, IU is no longer just the nation's little sister she was once known as in her early days. She has become a cultural icon in K-pop, a powerhouse in music and acting who has maintained a clean and beloved public image for over a decade. Yet, amid all these accolades and milestones, a seemingly trivial detail recently stirred up a major buzz across Korean online communities: her height. No one expected that something as mundane as a height measurement could spark such widespread discussion, and yet it did. What's more, it offers fascinating insights into image strategy, beauty standards, and the subtle pressures placed on female artists in the Korean entertainment industry. When height is more than a number. IU's previously published height was listed as 162 centimeters, modest by K-pop standards, where female idols typically stand between 165 and 170 centimeters. But what turned heads recently was IU's own candid admission on a fan communication app. She shared that her actual height, once 163.2 centimeters, had decreased to 162.7 centimeters at the age of 32. I was 163.2 centimeters last year, but when I measured recently, it was only 162.7 centimeters. I guess with age, we not only gain years but also lose a little height, she joked lightheartedly, sparking a wave of commentary across social media. Surprisingly, many netizens expressed shock not because of the drop, but because they had always assumed IU was much shorter. I thought she was only about 155 centimeters. She looks so tiny, but turns out she's not that short. Does anyone else think she seems way smaller? Were some of the most common reactions. A deliberate image strategy built on Petite. The fascinating part? IU's petite frame has never been a disadvantage. In fact, it has become an essential part of her public persona, and a central feature of her visual branding. In South Korea, where beauty standards often favor tall figures and long legs, IU has managed to defy expectations and thrive, not by denying her physical traits, but by turning them into a distinctive charm. Stylists and fashion experts have long analyzed IU's fashion techniques for appearing taller and slimmer. Her go-to hidden pants look, oversized sweaters, long shirts paired with ultra-short shorts, creates the illusion of elongated legs. On stage, she skillfully uses pleated skirts, A-line dresses, tiered layers, and high boots to enhance vertical lines and maintain a feminine yet modern aesthetic. Behind the scenes, stage directors and cameramen also contribute by carefully choosing low or angled shots to subtly add height on screen. IU may not be tall, but she consistently looks tall, thanks to an expertly crafted image cultivated over more than 10 years. Petite, but never powerless. Despite her small stature, IU has never come across as fragile or vulnerable in the cutthroat world of Korean entertainment. Quite the opposite, she's often admired for her resilience, independence, and professionalism. In a culture where height can sometimes serve as a silent benchmark of attractiveness, IU has held her ground, becoming one of the most respected figures in both music and drama. Professor Shin Yoon-yo, a media studies scholar at Sogang University, once remarked, "IU is not just a singer, she's a brand. And that brand is built on authenticity, intelligence, and uniqueness. She doesn't conform to industry standards, she sets her own." This is why, when IU publicly admitted to shrinking in height, the reaction wasn't ridicule, it was admiration and even affection. In an industry often criticized for artificiality, her candor felt refreshing and real. Conclusion: real height, true stature. Whether IU is 162 or 163 centimeters tall doesn't change her stature in the hearts of fans. Her physical smallness has always served as a contrast to her enormous talent, commanding presence, and rich emotional depth, all of which shine through in her songs, performances, and personal values. IU may not be tall by K-pop standards, but that has never mattered. Because one truth remains, she is one of the greatest artists of her generation, not just because of her voice or acting skills, but because of how she built an image that embraces imperfection and radiates authenticity. As societal standards continue to evolve, IU's story reminds us of something important: don't strive to be perfect according to someone else's model, strive to be uniquely yourself. And IU, tall or not, will always be the little queen of millions of hearts across Asia. At 32, IU remains one of Korea's most beloved and respected celebrities, a singer, actress, and icon whose career has been marked by consistency, brilliance, and authenticity. But recently, the star made a rather unusual revelation that sent ripples through Korean online communities. It wasn't a new song, a drama, or even a fashion statement, it was a matter of centimeters. Quite literally. IU confessed during a casual interaction with fans on a social media app that her height, once measured at 163.2 centimeters, had shrunk slightly to 162.7 centimeters. The confession, made with her signature charm and humor, quickly went viral. "I was 163.2 centimeters before, but now I'm 162.7. I guess aging doesn't just add numbers to your age, it also takes a few millimeters from your height," IU joked. While the difference may seem trivial to most, the response was anything but small. Online forums lit up with discussions, jokes, and, surprisingly, admiration. But why did this tiny change capture such massive attention? And what does it reveal about both IU and the way we perceive celebrities? When downward is the new direction. In an industry obsessed with youthful perfection and physical ideals, IU's candid acknowledgement of a bodily decline was as refreshing as it was unexpected. Most stars shy away from any suggestion that their bodies are changing, especially in ways that suggest aging. But IU embraced it openly. To millions of fans, this small moment felt deeply human. In a world dominated by filters, editing apps, and unattainable beauty standards, her vulnerability struck a chord. And more than that, it challenged the very notion that change must always be upward. IU, known for her petite frame, has always stood slightly outside of the K-pop norm, where women are typically tall, model-esque, and ethereal. Her height, previously listed as 162 centimeters, was already considered modest. That it had slightly decreased made fans reflect on just how fragile, real, and relatable their idol truly is. A subtle message of body honesty. What IU demonstrated, perhaps unintentionally, was a subtle kind of body honesty. By sharing something as seemingly inconsequential as losing half a centimeter in height, she highlighted a truth many try to hide: our bodies change, and not always in ways we want. This is particularly powerful coming from IU, whose image has long been associated with the ethereal and untouched. In a sense, her announcement disrupted the fantasy, and replaced it with something better, a version of herself that ages, shrinks, and embraces reality. Beauty expert and cultural critic Yoon Sung-ah told Korea Times, "IU's statement resonates because it's not just about height. It's about embracing the reality that our bodies evolve." When a star like IU acknowledges that out loud, it helps reshape how society views natural physical changes.